Hey superstars, welcome to another week of the Virtus Performance Podcast. Cheers to all of you and your families for listening, for sharing and subscribing and all that stuff that I'm sure you probably haven't done. But if you are enjoying it, I would very much appreciate it if you could do so, and then we can get a few more ears listening to me ramble and me talk to some amazing guests. Today's awesome guest is Eliza Keck. Eliza is the social media manager and a bunch of other stuff. Basically, the communicator of all things science and finance and just awesome stuff. Awesome, complicated stuff that us mere mortals don't understand as well as she does. So her role as the social media manager for the CSIRO, the National Science Institute, is to basically turn the complicated into simple and to help get stories out there, really important stories about how we can make the world a better place and how we can save the human race from extinction and things like that. So yeah, we had a really cool chat about how she got into the position, about all her amazing fun facts, about all the cool shit she does, and a little bit about the human race and where we're at, and basically just me talking rubbish because I have no idea what I'm talking about. So hope you guys enjoy it. My personal and business goal is to be just a little bit better every day. I believe everyone, especially normal people, have a story to tell. The Virtus podcast exists to help us all find small ways of consistent improvement by discussing the journey and experiences of each of our guests.
Not omnidirectional, it's unidirectional. So
You're omnidirectional?
Yeah, your face is.
Wow, we've started.
Oh.
How are you, mate?
I'm good. I've got a cup of tea.
Why do we have cups of tea?
Helps. Wait, which answer do you want?
I don't know. Throw an answer at me.
Dry July?
No.
Can't have a gin?
So,
I love gin.
Welcome to the Virtus podcast.
Thank
I'm
you.
sitting here with my lovely friend Eliza Keck, who's a superstar human. But I asked her if she wanted a gin, and she didn't want a gin because she's doing Dry July, so she suggested tea instead. Mm-hmm. Why tea?
Well, because warm... Oh, okay, that's where you wanted to go. Warm drinks can help make your vocal cords kind of relax a bit. And so it's an old radio trick.
That's good. So me
back
drinking
in radio
gin,
journalism.
me drinking copious amounts of gin.
Well, that can
milk.
relax your whole body, I guess.
Well, that's probably true.
The gin.
Then I just start talking rubbish. Why are you doing Dry July?
Because Sam was doing it of my husband, and I was just kind of like, oh, okay, sure.
And you just thought, why not?
Yeah, it's not harmful. Alcohol is the by far the most detrimental drug in Australia. Like, it causes the most problems.
So you thought a month off, why not?
Yeah. I never, you know what's funny? I barely ever do say no to a drink. A, because I love a good drink.
Play on.
But B, because I'm so, and you would never know this, but it's like the whole, oh, you're pregnant. And it's like, oh, fuck off.
So I
just drink anyway.
Yeah.
Typical Australians, right?
I know,
we have
right?
to all drink.
I know. It's pretty interesting because, like, Sammy was talking to me about Dry July a couple of weeks ago. And this is the last time we're going to talk about Sam because no one cares, basically. I care a little bit. But he asked me if I wanted to do it, and I said, oh, not really, because I don't like conforming and stuff. But I said, I'll do a month without alcohol starting now, which was about 3.5 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's crazy how much you realise you just do things without really thinking. Like,
exactly.
There would have been...
It's habitual.
It's been, 3.5 weeks? There would have been, 10, 15 times where I would have been in a situation where usually I would have just had a beer or a glass of wine or a gin, and I've had to go, whoa, this is normal, and it's really easy to get into those habits.
Yeah. Have you found it easier or harder as you've gone on?
I found it easy. I haven't really found it hard, but Like I look at like some of the things that are coming up in the next like 2 weeks, and I'm like, oh, it would have been good to have a couple of beers there.
Yeah,
but
my birthday's in July.
Oh no!
Which is why I haven't done it before, but I might cheat that day.
Cheat that day, yeah. Like,
yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't know. It's really interesting because it's something that we take sugar out of our diet, or we take soft drink out, or whatever, and it makes a huge difference. Yeah. First question.
Sugar's an interesting one.
Sugar? Talk to me. Tell me about sugar.
No. Just the fact that everyone, obviously sugar in high quantities is not good for you. It does lots of nasty things, changes your brain and stuff. But you know how everyone's like, oh, don't give my child sugar, they'll go hyper. There's been a double-blinded test where they found that it's absolute bollocks.
Really?
So, yeah. It's
so
a
like
myth.
red cordial thing's a myth?
Yeah. The whole red cordial thing, complete myth. They found that parents, regardless of if they gave the child a placebo or actual sugar, if they told the parents they'd given the child sugar, no matter what the child had or hadn't had sugar, they're like, oh, no, they're way more hyper.
That's really interesting.
And if they... and the reverse as well.
That's crazy, because it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Like, parents go, my kid's going to go hyper when he loads up on sugar. Well, he's probably going to go hyper because you're expecting it.
Well, if you say it to them as well, they're going to be like...
They're going to hear it.
Oh, okay, sure.
I thought that on the weekend when... So KP did some babysitting, her nephew, and she was told, oh, he never sleeps well, or he always asks for mum. She's like, nah, he's not going to ask for mum. And he didn't. And I was thinking about it that afternoon. I was like, how much of that is her belief that she's not going to do it, and how much of it normally is the parents believing it's going to be a thing.
Wanting their child to want them.
Exactly.
Yeah,
which is pretty crazy. But it's really interesting to see that that's the way we behave. Like we kind of tell ourselves a narrative or a little story and expect it to play out.
Well, storytelling does affect our brain chemistry significantly.
It's so many fun facts. I love it. This is going to be an hour and a bit of just fun facts.
Fun facts with Eliza. That's the podcast name. I took over. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. Virtus podcast is done. We're now fun facts with Eliza.
Yeah.
Give me a fun fact. What gets you out of bed in the morning?
Oh, I get pretty excited. My job's pretty awesome.
What do you do, mate?
So I work for CSIRO, so National Science Agency.
What does CSIRO actually stand for?
Oh gosh, Commonwealth CS Scientific Institute of Research Organisation or something.
Cool.
Something like that.
You should probably know that. Maybe.
I should. I don't.
Not important. Can't make memes out of that.
No. My job is to make memes. So.
And you're only like tiny bit kidding. It's actually your job.
Yeah.
That's the greatest job ever. So you work for the National Science Organisation.
Yeah, I do their social media stuff.
That's amazing.
So basically the way I see it is that I'm flipping good at turning really complicated things into something people can understand. So I'm like a translator for English. From English to English.
From science to idiot speak or regular
science
person
or
speak.
Finance or...
Yeah.
And I've worked in quite a few industries, but always complicated. Health, I worked for Finnish Health for like 5 years or 4 years.
Yeah.
Same deal.
How'd you get into the job you're doing now?
Well, I applied for it. As in this specific job. I've always been pretty keen on science and stuff. And just, Sam... Oh, no, I won't talk about him.
Nah, talk about him.
No. Well, when we met, we were both in uni, and he was studying zoology. Yep. I used to sneak into his lectures and listen in.
And just learn stuff.
Just learn stuff because it's fun and you can.
That's the dream.
Why wouldn't you? But, so it's funny because we both went into our degrees both with the same goal but with completely different avenues. So I went into communications because it had a lot of film, radio, broadcast kind of stuff. And Sam went into, because I still have a vision of creating a nature documentary.
Awesome.
I've got a storyline and everything. I just need to get funding. And then he went into zoology for the same reason. We both want to be David Attenborough.
Yeah. For those that don't know, Eliza's partner, who is batting well above his average, has also been on the podcast. He talked about David Attenborough for about an hour and a half. So,
did he?
Yeah, he talks about it.
I couldn't listen to his podcast because it was like being at home.
That's great. I love that. So you both want to be David Attenborough. That's fair. He's a pretty amazing human.
Yeah, he is.
I love watching Planet Earth docos and stuff like that.
And he's legit just a wonderful person.
Yeah.
I was working with Ray Martin one time.
Yeah.
And he...
His first name drop, good from you.
Can I say you a challenge? This has reminded me.
Yeah.
You know how you have your bell for...
Yeah.
I want to make the bell... I want to make the bell for every time you say 100%.
Oh. Wowzers. That's going to be hard.
It is. And I'm trying to not say
100%. Alright, there's one. Don't say 100%.
Yeah. Anyway, so when Edinburgh came to Australia he's done a few tours, Ray Martin's the interviewer, and you kind of don't think much, but he was actually really good at it. Anyway, so I saw him, and everyone's like, "Oh, can I have a photo with you, Ray?" And all I was like was, "You've met David Attenborough! Oh my gosh!" And I asked him what he was like, and he said he was just like the truest gentleman. Like,
amazing.
Ultimate gentleman. I was like,
so 1 degree of separation from David Attenborough. So
I was getting there.
I'm 2 degrees of separation from David Attenborough.
For sure.
Yes!
Oh, you know what? You're probably 2 degrees from separation from, like, a lot of people, because my dad was a journalist, so...
Really?
He met a lot of famous people.
I haven't met your dad, though, so that means it's 3.
It's 3. You can meet him if you want.
Done. Done. So,
He'd love you.
Oh,
He's super
I'm sure it'd be
enthusiastic.
awesome.
He likes enthusiastic people.
Is that where you get it from?
Yeah.
Yeah, where'd you grow up?
Just eastern suburbs mostly.
Yeah.
North Ball.
So you didn't grow up on the peninsula?
No. Moved down for the boy for what was meant to be a 2-year business that he was going to open and flip.
Was he?
Didn't happen.
No.
No. So.
What was it like? What was it like moving down here? Because like I can't remember what I was talking to about it, but I don't think I could move away from the peninsula now. Like I'm set. Like I love this place.
I had a huge, this is going to sound really weird, but a culture shock.
Yeah.
It's so white. And the school I grew up in, I was literally one of 2 white girls in my year level. So it was really, I got so used to that, and I'm like, where's my Asian grocery store? And I can't just, buy the spices I want at the supermarket anymore, and everyone's subtly racist. And so that took a while.
Unintentionally subtly racist, right?
Oh, completely.
Hopefully.
completely. Not on purpose, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it's just the reality of when you don't know something, you tend to make assumptions, hey?
Yeah, true. So what got you into, so apart from wanting to be David Attenborough, what got you into like doing communications at uni?
Yeah, probably, I would have loved to be a journalist, but that's a dying career, and this is probably the next best thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm just finding really interesting people and interviewing them. I'm just like a science journalist, except, a bit more strategic stuff, which is also interesting, so it's a bit broader than journalism in that sense. It's quite fun. Yeah.
Why is journalism dying?
That's a complicated question.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, there's so many reasons. Society has a bit of a distrust of authority. I guess that's part of it, and so journalism, as the advertising landscape has changed, mainstream media hasn't adapted fast enough, and so therefore they started losing money. And instead of trying to change their model, they went into a system of just cutting back and trying to do more with less.
Yeah.
And that resulted in poorer journalism, which resulted in people not wanting to pay for it. Yeah. And then there's a social media element in there as well.
Yeah.
I kind of hate myself and love my job. It's like I'm contributing to this problem in a way, but...
so your job wouldn't really have existed 10 years ago, what you do now?
It did not.
No, which is pretty cool. What was like the steps from your communications degree to where you are now? Talk me through the different things you've done, because you've done some cool stuff.
Yeah. So when I was in uni, I worked on film sets a bit, in production, kind of more management side of things, which I kind of hated.
Yeah.
Event management, all that stuff I hate. And then I went into a not-for-profit down here, which was awesome. Still is awesome. I'm still part of it.
Awesome.
Just as a volunteer. It's called Community Caring, and it does the program I'm still involved in is called Coach, and you basically come alongside a at-risk person.
Yeah.
In my case, I did youth coach, so an at-risk youth person, and just be there with them. And it's amazing. I still remember the day I asked this girl I've been with for like 6 years.
Yeah.
We were playing, I don't know what we were playing. I was like, if you won the lottery tomorrow, what would you do? And she couldn't answer it for the longest time. Sorry. She couldn't answer it for the longest time. And then when she did answer it, she said, I would travel to Shepparton or something. And that was her big dream. And it's because when you're growing up in a really dysfunctional family situation, that part of your brain, the imagination and the ability to dream, I guess, completely gets shut off. And it's pretty sad.
It is sad.
And that's where having someone else to help you kind of show you something else. I took her to the shopping centre for the first time, and I took her to all these things for the first time, and it's really cool to see how... Oh, I mean, she's choosing her own things, and she's doing, like, you know, but I'm there. So when things go wrong...
Not everyone's that lucky to have a mentor like you to look up to.
Oh, I wouldn't say she looks up to me. I'm more the emergency.
Does.
I'm the emergency card. When things go pear-shaped.
It's pretty crazy how, like, that can be someone's normal, or that can be someone's, like, world where going to Shepparton's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, sure, like, nice place, but
yeah, that was her winning the lottery. That's my big thing I could do.
Yeah.
Going on a road trip.
What would you do if you won the lottery?
Oh, gosh. Well, I'd never invented it in the first place because it's so stupid. But I guess if I'd won it, I would... I wouldn't tell anyone.
Yeah.
And then, just make investments in things and then kind of...
Keep living your life.
Well, help people out, I was thinking, like, do things but just on the quiet.
Yeah.
Maybe make a trust, actually. That might be the best way to do it. Make a trust and then you can... Because part of my working in the non-for-profit is applying for grants and all that kind of stuff. And if you can make a difference that way, it'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
Definitely. Make the world a better place. Really simply.
I wouldn't not work or anything. Like, gosh, I like working.
Then the world would have no science memes.
Yeah, references to Fallout. And computer games.
Give me tell me that fun fact. What did you post about today?
Okay, so today
Before I forget.
Yeah, okay, I posted today. I kind of made a reference to a computer game, Fallout, which is pretty popular. I'm a bit of a loser. I like computers, which is why this...
Why does that mean you're a loser?
Well, I'm kind of in a perfect job, hey, that didn't exist 10 years ago because it combines computers with communication, my two favourite things. And anyway, so Chernobyl, right? We all know Chernobyl had the equivalent of 400 atomic bombs drop on it in a fallout, effectively. And that meant people left 30-kilometre radius from the area for the past half a century almost coming up. And basically what's happened is now it's starting to get a bit safer. Researchers have been going in and stuff, and there were all these rumours about this giant pack of wolves living there. They're quite endangered. And everyone's like, there's apparently this pack of wolves. Anyway, and so, researchers have gone in and they've found that, all these endangered species, in spite of the fact that they are battling, some... maybe you'll have more stillbirths, for example, out of a litter of puppies, but they're actually, the impact of 400 atomic bombs on their survival is less than having people live there because they're actually thriving. Which is so depressing.
Yeah, so nuclear warfare is better for the earth.
Well, if we all disappeared, things would be ticking along all right. But, there's an option we can, kind of find a middle ground, hopefully.
How do you find out stuff like that each day and then carry on living your life?
What do you mean? I've known that fact for quite a while, actually.
But you keep rolling through new things, right? Like stuff like that.
Every day.
Does it make you optimistic or pessimistic for the future?
Oh, super excited.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's just like fun that every day you learn something new and then you're like, what's going to be next?
Yeah.
And it's fun. Like, what was the one the other day? There's an exoplanet, like a planet outside of our solar system called Kepler AB13.
Mm-hmm.
And it has a different sun, and it rotates around the sun kind of like how our moon rotates around Earth. So it's got like one side always facing the sun, one side not. And on the side that's not facing the sun, it snows sunscreen. So you'd probably have to
Genuinely snow sunscreen.
yeah, you'd have to go to the titanium oxide. So you go to that side, put on your sunscreen, run over to the hot side, and then burn to death. Actually, you wouldn't survive. But anyway, how weird is that?
That is very weird.
I don't know.
That is crazy weird.
Yeah, things are fun.
Yeah, life's fun.
Yeah, right.
There's so much
we don't know
cool
about
stuff.
it.
That's kind of the cool thing. There's like every time I see you, you seem to throw a couple more facts at me. But there's still so much that we don't know.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, the big thing for me, the goal is to not just throw a fact. When I throw them at you, I don't care. But in my job, my thing isn't to just throw a fact at someone. Partly it's that. It's, educate but also influence change, right? And so to do that, you need to kind of have a bit of a story arc. There's different ways of calling it, dramatic arc or story arc. And if I do that effectively, people should feel distressed and then empathetic. So they get, I think it's, I didn't do much in biology, but I think it's cortisol and oxytocin. But anyway, so then the reaction, and the more oxytocin someone has, the more likely they are to be empathetic to, and then respond to your story. So if I'm talking about climate change or something, I have to find a way to do it to get the audience to a point where they're going to see it as something they feel empathetic towards, and then that influences behavioural change.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. So a lot of my job is kind of psychology in the sense that I need to understand a person's motivation.
Yeah.
So general public. So I do a lot of sentiment surveys. I like data. So I like sentiment surveys.
We are two very different people.
I look through all of the... Social media is awful and amazing. Awful for you and amazing for me because it captures everything. So I can look through all the content I've produced and what worked, what didn't, and kind of work out why through analytics.
What to do next.
And then figure out what to do next to get my message across.
So which part of it's more important? Because I guess it's really easy for a lot of people just to throw stuff out there, like people that are trying to induce change, to just throw stuff out there.
Oversaturated, aren't we? It's there's this really old statistic and it's completely off now, but back when there wasn't social media, it was something already like you would see 400 pieces of content every day. Yeah. And that's before.
So now it'd be...
It's ridiculous. It's
thousands,
I don't think
thousands.
I haven't seen a study.
It'd be a stupid number.
Yeah.
What do you think? What's your kind of tact for getting your messages out there and getting people to actually change their behaviour?
Get the hook.
Is it just the hook and then...
Well, I think that the key is to get that motivation. So what motivates them? Yeah. And then when you know what motivates them and what interests them, you can use those two facts to kind of...
manipulate people.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
So then they actually listen.
Manipulation isn't necessarily... I mean, we have negative connotation for it, but that's literally, it's influence. You could say manipulate or influence.
It's
the same thing.
So after the non-profit, or after you moved on from non-profit, you obviously kept doing it. What was next? Yeah,
so I went to Peninsula Health then.
Yeah.
In fundraising, and then so I learned a lot about fundraising, and then moved into social media. That's when I first got into social media, and then ended up in charge of the media and communications for Peninsula Health. So that's 13 sites plus 2 hospitals. Yeah, so that was more issues management, strategic, content creation, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So fun, so interesting.
Why?
Every day.
Why was it fun? Which part of it's fun?
Okay. So it's not fun when someone writes to you and says, "I missed the passing of my father because I couldn't get a car park," and I know the reason. And I know the reason is something that our hospital we're hamstrung and we can't fix, for example, and it's actually a government problem. But we can't say that because the government gives us money, so you don't. It's a very complicated place to be, right? Yeah. But then I would be like, all right, I need to write a story. I'm going to go talk to a first-year surgeon and ask them about the first time they had to tell someone that their loved one had died and what that experience was like and how they deal with death. So interesting.
That's incredibly interesting.
Yeah, and that's where you got to, you're given a sort of assignment perhaps from the CEO or something. I need money for this and I want you to tell stories about this. And then that's what I enjoy. It's like a puzzle. I've got to work out a way to do that.
Best to it.
Yeah.
So if we want to share a story on, say, broccoli lattes, what would be the best way to do it?
Oh, no. See that was the hook that I made.
Yeah.
The beginning of that story was farmers have a new revenue stream potential. And it was going to go in the Weekly, which is a regional newspaper.
Sure would grab a lot of people's attention.
Oh, yeah. The audience initially was for farmers. And so I said, no, let's do something more with this. And broccoli lattes came out of that. It's not meant to be used in lattes.
Yeah,
it works.
But it was
I got German Playboy asking me for photos and information, so I know I've made it in my job when sexy.
For those that are living
broccoli.
under a rock, CSIRO developed broccoli powder, right?
Out of waste product, effectively. Well, not waste product, but
Would have been thrown out.
what we would call waste. Yeah, food loss, which is the parts of the broccoli that wouldn't go to the supermarket. The stem, ugly broccoli. Yeah.
Not all broccoli is created equal, unfortunately.
No.
It's so sad for the broccoli.
Poor broccoli. Yeah, no, food waste is a huge problem in Australia, and so CSIRO's whole vision is to kind of stop it at the source. So I mean, I know people are quite aware of like, oh, in my garden I need to, have compost bin and stuff. That's great, but the much bigger impact will be if we know to produce the right amount at the start, just in terms of your carbon footprint and
so
the energy.
For guys that don't know much about CSIRO, what is the role or what's the intention of the CSIRO?
Oh,
what's its job?
There's
overarching.
There's 20 points.
Yeah.
Don't
load up.
Every day I'm there, I learn about a new area that we work in that I didn't know. Like seriously, and same with people who are there 10 years.
Yeah.
About 5,000 staff around Australia.
Okay, so it's pretty big.
Yeah, it's like that was the same as Peninsula Health.
Yeah.
But it's more just the breadth of kind of work we do. It's so broad. But basically it's to make solve problems to make a better future. I guess you're using science. That's a broad statement.
Yeah.
Gee, I'm turning into a oh dear.
There's nothing wrong with having that broad statement, because then each of the different areas are going to delve into one specific thing.
Well, yeah, we have a new director and I've been helping with that, because strategic kind of communications is where I get off. So I have been helping kind of distill a lot of messages into something straightforward.
What's been the hardest part about that, about taking the complicated stuff and turning it simple?
So that in itself isn't difficult. It's the managing of people that is quite complicated. So internal politics is something. So you need to have a bit of a high EQ in an organisation like mine. Because a lot of, I think, there is a statistic, but it's something like we have a lot of people who may have super high IQs, but we have a lot of people with mental health, conditions, that autism, things like that might mean that you're going to be a bit
unable
more
to communicate those things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then you have a lot of assholes who are like old science. There's this old scientist kind of vibe where they little girl and also what's the other one? They actually have disdain for the public, and they don't want the public to know their important information because it's too important for them.
So there's a lot of
people should just trust me. So egotistical. But that's academia.
Yeah.
It's not just science, I think.
What's it like being in that environment as someone that's communicating all of the good stuff they're doing, but doing it through all the shit? What's it like being in that
it can be pretty exhausting, but I think it's just about manipulating people, right? So
100%.
Yeah. So I just have to work out their motivations when I'm talking to them. And then kind of come to a compromise to make sure that they're happy.
So it's like...
Sometimes I lose. Sometimes a great story gets missed because they won't get it across the line. But
do you have a favourite story or a most profound story that you've been able to get out there and...
I mean, really in terms of results, the broccoli latte certainly was our best performer. It's one of the best stories they've had since I've been there. In terms of they had people trying to buy the IP from America, and they had 5 major food producers wanting the product, and because CSIRO creates problems and then we commercialise them so that we can get money, so that we can still,
Where does all the funding come from? Because is it
probably about 40%? Yeah, government's probably about 60%. Yeah.
And then 40% is just you guys
our own
raising it.
IP. Yeah. But because the reality is not everything we do is going to be something we can sell.
Yeah.
Like climate science isn't something we can sell.
I'm really interested to see or hear where you think like the world's going with climate change and stuff, because obviously there's Trump kind of backflipping on all the US stuff, and where's it going from a scientific standpoint?
From a scientific standpoint, it hasn't changed for 30 odd years.
But obviously the political standpoint and the, I guess, understanding and the backlash and things like that.
Well, that's where I see our job is, our being the communications team job, more vital than any other time. So because facts don't change people's opinions. They don't.
Why not? It should. Is there an evolutionary reason why that's the case?
Yes, there is.
Talk to me.
No, I can't remember the details, and I don't want to give you half a story. But there is. But no, what I will tell you is a different one. A study where they got people with a really strong opinion. In that case, they got people who thought vaccines cause autism.
Yeah.
Something clearly proven wrong. The guy made it up, whatever. And they got these two groups. So people who were like, oh, yeah, definitely causes autism. Those who were like, well, obviously not.
Yeah.
And then they told each group, well, actually, we found new evidence to support your argument. And the response was, I knew it. Yeah, absolutely. And then if they said, actually, we found some evidence that disproves what you think. And they're like, well, I don't believe you. Not true.
Yeah.
And it actually polarized them and made them even further apart in their opinions.
Yeah.
What they found worked very well was to find a common ground. So you've got to find where people... So they found they didn't mention autism. They would just talk about diseases that you want to protect your kid from, because really what's the root of it? All these people want their children to be safe, right? And so they frame the conversation around that, around common ground. And if people have common ground, they very, very rarely will fight.
Yeah.
And so... From the where I think people have failed, from scientists, communicators perhaps have failed in this climate change debate, is that they've just been jumping up and down saying, but this is the facts, and it's like, no
one cares.
Well, why are these people freaked out about it? What are they worried about? And why didn't this issue happen? I was speaking to Paul Krummel's, one of our senior scientists, about, he does work in the ozone layer.
Yep.
Fun fact, it's never had an ozone hole over Australia. That's a myth.
Really?
Yeah. Do you know why we get so sunburnt?
Why?
Our air quality is awesome. So,
so there's less
radiation
stuff
doesn't bounce
off.
Yeah. There you go. Anyway, well, I was talking to him when he told me this fun fact.
That's
but
crazy.
Also, I was like, well, so when we discovered the ozone hole, like, governments around the world acted and it was really easy, right? And so why hasn't that happened this time? And it tends to be that, partly we've got a changed culture. Authorities no longer who we look to for advice. We've got a mum blog that says that,
that drives me crazy.
Just eat almonds all day and then you'll raise your IQ 10% or something. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah. I told you, so it's true.
Oh, good.
I'm a scientist.
You heard it here first. Almonds.
Yeah, but anyway, so it's the big challenge, and the big way we can solve it is by finding that common ground.
Yeah.
And that's something that's really difficult to do because we have such disparate communication channels and we have such strong echo chambers within social media.
Because we only follow the people that we agree with mostly.
Absolutely. It's highly dangerous.
Yeah.
Extremely dangerous.
And we only consume the media of the people that we agree with usually. We're not actually like in a position to be told we're wrong very often.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
What are the...
Confirmation.
Yeah, confirmation bias, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the guys sent me a message yesterday, so I'm seeing Virtus merch everywhere. I'm like, no, you're not. You've seen it probably 3 times, maybe a couple of months.
I bought a yellow car.
Yeah. Lives up in the cities, and it's like, you've seen it a couple of times, a couple of months, but when you see it, you think about it, right? You don't notice all the people in Puma stuff. The same thing when we buy a new car, right?
Yeah.
Are there like a couple of... I don't want to give you a number because feel free to load up on it, but there are a couple of like science misfacts or mistruths that people believe are true. Majority of people believe are true that you just like no.
Well, the climate one's a big one.
Yeah.
Where we just all in our team just roll our eyes. And
Part of me just goes, surely that's
gosh.
too obvious. People are just taking the piss.
Oh, no. We have... actually, I really love the conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
When they come on board, I'm so happy. It's so fun to just read them. And, oh, my gosh. Like, we had... and they're persistent. Those are the ones like the flat earthers and the... I survived mercury poisoning because I ate kumquats, and we get all sorts of stuff, and it's fantastic.
Word of the day, kumquat.
Go eat one. You'll solve your mercury poisoning problem.
Yeah. Because like obviously there's the big ones like climate and flat earth and like vaccines
chemtrails,
and autism.
The flu vaccine's actually one that's a bit more contentious. People like are less clear, I think.
Yeah.
Even though it's the flu, just get a vaccine and you might feel sick for a day, but you know what that means? It means your body's reacting to and it's fighting it, which is a good sign. The more you react, probably the better you're going and the less likely you are to get the flu later.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just like debriefing all of my anxieties from
what else
work.
you got? Throw them out. I find those ones really interesting because, like, again, the people that are listening are probably the ones that are frustrated at chemtrails and the talk about that there isn't global warming or climate change and all of those different things. Yeah. So we're just talking to our own echo chamber. So we're talking about echo chambers to our own echo chamber.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many little things that people just pick aside and stay on it.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it takes a lot for them. It takes a really, I think, a brave person to change their opinion.
Yeah.
It is an evolutionary thing that you have to kind of stick with what you think. It's really hard to change that. And so then, I don't know.
Do you, like, what are the things that help us change our opinions? Do you know, like, is it self-awareness? Is it introspection? Is it...
it's so many things.
Self in a position to actually hear the other side of the story.
Empathy's massive if it's coming from an external source. For example, if someone tells you, you're always doing this and stop doing that. Yeah. Depending on your personality, that might or might not work. But also, more importantly, how you empathise with them will impact how much. I don't care if I do that. That's not you. You know, I might be annoying you, but that's not my problem. Well, then you're not going to change.
Find a way to bridge that gap, like I said before, and have that common ground that people can get around.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, where do you see your role going over the next couple of years? Like, will it change or will you just keep...
In terms of social media?
Yeah, social media.
As a platform?
Or what you want to be doing?
Two
questions. Go social media as a platform.
So social media is a platform, something that I've brought in or championed pretty strongly from a strategic perspective is to be agile and constantly moving. And so we need to be really... so Facebook, for example, we would regularly hit, 2 million reach or whatever. Yeah. And Facebook changed its algorithm this year. I don't know if you have a business page.
I do, and it hurt a lot.
Yeah, it's because they just want to make money off of you. And they just they do this, they've had a pattern of doing it for years. But the reality is the audience is changing and they're leaving Facebook. Yeah. The demographics changed significantly. It's mostly people over 25 to 55. In fact, 55 plus is probably one of your largest engaged audiences. Yeah. Which influences how people engage is going to influence what they see in their algorithm. Yeah. But yeah, so people are changing for different platforms. Personally, I think there'll be something new. I don't think Instagram, they're trying. That's also owned by Facebook.
Well, Facebook are just bringing in all the ad spend stuff and all the business stuff to Instagram anyway, so it's going to be exactly the same. Oh,
absolutely. So it's just a constantly moving thing. I think there's a lot of drive for people to have a platform that's sequential rather than algorithmic. So from a business perspective, I'm really strong in EDMs, which is like direct mail, Wallace Weekly wrap. You're straight up. Gotcha. Because
you know what you're going to get.
You know what you're going to get. Yeah. So I'm trying to. We've never really focused on that as an organisation. So I'm bringing that in a lot because it's something that won't change. Anyway, personally, where I see myself in 3 to 5 years.
I don't know.
I don't know. I really like
just
that.
Doing cool shit.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's, like, to go back a little bit, how's it all changed since you've been, how long have you been in this role for?
A year and a half.
Year and a half. How much has it changed in a year and a half? Because, like, I kind of would have been, like, not even 12 months where I kind of properly started jumping on his, like, Facebook and doing my ad spend and doing targeted campaigns and all of those kind of things. And it's changed, like, in the last 9 months, it's changed a stupid amount. So
changed in what way? Significant?
Just the fact that I could post something 12 months ago and not really worry about paying for it.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
get a decent-ish organic reach, and now I get zero.
Yeah.
How else has it changed?
So the algorithms adjusted a lot more to be friends than businesses.
Yeah.
When you post something, it has to be particularly like engaging.
Yep.
So people have to like, share, click, whatever.
Yeah.
But it can't be. You can't share the same thing multiple times. The algorithm they become very smart around like. So you probably won't know this, but when you upload a photo, it scans it and it creates alt text of the image.
Yeah.
In the back end, someone sneakily found it once, and alt text is normally used for if I had a vision impairment and I needed my screen reader to explain what the photo looked like.
Yeah.
But their algorithms using it to work out what to serve people, so so you don't get 3 photos of a beach in a row, for example.
Wow.
And it's quite complicated, and things that certain words that. They'll always, penalise you for, like buy, win, sign up, anything that is associated with making money.
Yeah.
The algorithm shuts that down.
Yeah.
Tag a friend, tag a mate. That's a new one. It doesn't like them
Doesn't
anymore.
get around that, yeah.
Because people are sick of memes, I guess.
Do you think it's a good thing?
I think Facebook's becoming irrelevant, so I don't think it really matters.
Will Facebook pivot, because it's such a big entity and it's kind of taking over the world in certain aspects? Will it pivot and turn to something else? Will it transcend its current form?
Facebook as an organisation already has. So that's why they work so much on Instagram, WhatsApp. Like they own quite a lot of things you might not realise. And they're working hard on those things almost more so. They're very protectionist now. They've moved from being innovative to protectionist. So they're trying to sabotage and cannibalise any new platforms that come out.
Yeah.
So it what was the question again?
I can't remember. What's social media going to look like in 10 years?
Oh, yeah. No, I can't. God.
Damn it, I was hoping you'd throw me an idea and
I remember
make some money on Facebook.
I remember I went to a MySpace free movie ticket night, and then Murdoch bought it, and suddenly Facebook appeared and MySpace was dead, and it's just it moves so fast.
So fast, yeah.
Yeah.
But no companies have companies had a monopoly like Facebook do now. Like obviously it's got Facebook and Google, but on social media, Facebook kind of have majority of the market
Reddit doesn't
share.
have much. Well, it's interesting because so if you look at it from a media perspective, Murdoch and Packer probably did come. It was probably a duopoly rather than a monopoly. But certainly they came pretty. There were laws to stop them from getting this big, which have changed now. But nothing like this has ever happened before, and we're still seeing the effects. But from a personal perspective, there's a lot of psychologists doing studies on how it's affecting our minds and behaviour and attention spans and opinions of ourselves. Some pretty obvious ones around, if I'm seeing everyone's best version of themselves online and no one else seems to have a bad day, I must be wrong for having a bad day.
Yeah, which I guess I don't feel like things like that affect me much, being a little bit older and I guess a little bit more established in what I'm doing and stuff like that. But then you look at kids that are born from say 2005 onwards, where the only world they know is social media and iPhones and likes and hashtags and all that kind of stuff. And you wonder how, I guess, aware they are of, or they're going to be in 10 years, or in 20 years when you've got 2 generations coming through that are just dealing with all that.
Yeah, well, we're the internet generation, aren't we? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
I remember when internet first existed. Well, not first existed, but first became accessible to the general public in the 90s. And now it's like, yeah.
There's like 6 devices in this
CSIRO created Wi-Fi and then it all went wrong.
Tell me about that story, because like...
it's a really depressing story.
At least the facts.
Well, okay, the facts are that like people, scientists around the world have created different components, I guess. The way you'd think of it is if like, you know, you had a linear, like oh gosh, I'm using my hands and I'm talking on a podcast. I was going to explain what you were doing anyway. No, just that there was the final piece of a big puzzle that had mostly been completed by other scientists.
Yeah.
And then we accidentally found the final bit of that puzzle. And then literally...
What were we looking for when we found it? Because it was something to do with space.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you remember what? Because
no, I can't.
I'm racking my brain at the moment. I can't remember what it is.
Can't remember.
That's all right. Not important. Just Google it, guys.
Yeah.
We live in a world where you can do that now.
But this is the other thing, I think, the rise of the internet. And I was reading an article recently around how it's impacting and creating more of a... how would I put it? So... polarizing the rich and the poor, right? So more of a gap. So to the girl that I hang out with, for example, no internet at home, struggle to get a computer.
Yeah.
Suddenly, she has to have more motivation than all the other kids. She's already not motivated because of her family situation to do her homework or any of her work to pass. Yeah. She has to go find the library. She has to walk, 30 minutes to the library or something.
Yeah.
Suddenly she's at even more of a disadvantage than she already was.
Yeah.
And then, so I was reading this article in Africa, actually. One of the biggest issues is they're having a second kind of... and this happened with the advent of propaganda and printing. Like, for example, in Russia, when you had the Russian Revolution got rid of the Tsar, it was quite... clearly attribute one of the main factors was the railroad coming through and more information being spread.
Yeah. And
people were seeing, life in the city looks better, and then they went to the city and then it became worse because it's overpopulated. And that's all happening again in Africa. So there's more people with access to a phone than clean water in Africa right now.
Wow.
And so those people are seeing, life in the city's great. So they're all migrating. So you're getting this huge influx of economic migrants that cities and places can't support. And, it's a huge issue.
If you had a magic wand, how would you fix the world or the main problems in the world?
There's too many.
Yeah. What would you get first? Yeah. What would you go first?
Maybe cross between malaria, clean water. Yeah. Those kinds of things are pretty big. Diarrhea is a massive cause of death.
Yeah. Have you had any thought processes around like universal basic income?
Have you talked to Sam about this?
No, I haven't.
He's
obsessed
actually. Talking about. Well, it didn't really work in. Was it Sweden? I think just tried it out and stopped it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I just because as we become more reliant on computers and machines and stuff, we're automating basically as many things as possible.
Yeah.
That you asked me before if I'm automating a bunch of my business stuff. I'm trying.
And then goodbye to your accountant. Suddenly, and then goodbye to your not your account. Well, this is the biggest challenge I faced when I was working in finance, which was after Peninsula Health.
That's what we're talking about.
back in those days. So I worked in for quite a large finance organisation in the city, and basically they were working hard to become a one-stop shop for people, and the way they could do that economically for themselves was to just
go online,
make it
cloud.
Well, not even the cloud, but like they created this whole suite of software that made everything a lot more straightforward. But it did mean death of the middleman, and
it's probably a good thing.
Well, except then when you think about people who not everyone is able to be like, so for example, law.
Yeah.
So there's a computer IBM created. I can't remember its name. But they've created a computer that can basically do the job of most paralegals or most beginning lawyers. And so the traditional structure of how you become a top lawyer is you do all this groundwork for ages and grunt work and you work your way up.
Yeah.
Now there's a computer to do that first whole section. How do they get to the point where they can go up?
Yeah.
And
See?
and so they're actually automation of workforce is of the professional working force, not just the, labour and that kind of stuff. It's becoming, it's around the corner.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, the optimism in me sees that as overwhelmingly positive, right? Like, if we get rid of all the shitty, menial, not shitty, bad choice of words. We get rid of all the menial 9-to-5 jobs.
Sure.
The people just rock up, do a task, go home. I think it allows a bigger bandwidth for people to do things that they, or at least chase the things they love to do. In terms of like you love your job, I'm very lucky to love my job. Like Sam loves his job. We're able to kind of create the environment that we live in. I think a lot of people are stuck in that job or situation where they can't necessarily change it. And I think it could be a cool progression or transcendence of our normal, regular, everyday lives if we're actually able to, get rid of a bunch of jobs as long as it's replaced with something. Because that's kind of
that's the difficult
$1 million
part,
question, right? What do you actually replace it with? But I can't wait to have that conversation with Sam now.
He will talk your ear off about it. He's very interested in it, but I just see it as we're so much busier now than we used to be, even though we have more convenience than ever before, right?
Yeah.
And so I think every time I'm not saying this in a negative, I'm just saying that I think the reality will be that we're going to have unforeseeable problems that we need to...
Yeah.
And if you believe Stephen Hawking's last thing, AI may kill us all yet. Neural networks.
Yeah.
Dangerous thing.
Yeah, let's not talk about AI. It just freaks me out.
It's pretty... I was talking to some of our computer scientists, the neural networking systems, and they're using it a lot for example, for space exploration. And we now have telescopes that can get thousands of gigabytes of data every minute. Literally, impossible.
What's the stat? We get more data is added to the internet every 2 days now than the rest, the whole past.
There's something like YouTube as well. Yeah.
Oh, YouTube,
YouTube has more videos than anyone could watch in history. Something ridiculous like that. What? I don't know it.
So the computer scientists, I guess it depends on the person, but are they tentatively optimistic, or are they
it depends.
We're all going to die? It depends on the person?
Oh, it absolutely depends. It depends on what part of it they're working in, hey? If you talk to someone who's doing...
Give me a really simple answer, mate.
I know, right? I've been working with scientists too long. You can't have a straightforward answer for a scientist. It's always
our interns get really annoyed at us because they're like, what about this? What about this? With just exercise, right? And it's I'm like, this depends. It depends. Context is king. Yeah. With all of these kind of things. So it depends. And they get so sick of us saying it depends. Yeah. So now they'll just ask us questions. Oh, it depends, doesn't it? Well, yeah, it does. But here are the parameters we know.
Most
we can
likely.
Work with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Because, I don't know. You seem like an optimist. Everything will be sweet. Everything will be different.
Yeah, everything will be different. Just adapt.
Yeah.
What's the evolutionary laws? Adapt, change, move or die. That's basically our options. Yeah. Move, adapt or die.
Yeah. Or just be like Bear Grylls, adapt, improvise, overcome, or whatever he's on.
I don't know. All I can think about is
too much pop culture.
When he eats his honey, and it's a small price to pay, and he's been stung over the face, and he looks like Benedict Cumberbatch. It's my favourite.
Shit, that's insane. What's your if someone asks you what's your favourite fun fact? 'Cause I'm sure you get asked all the time. Surely.
I don't.
No?
I don't get asked that. I just tell people them. Yeah. I'm too excited. I can't wait to be asked a question.
Because I remember when I first found out about your job, I was just like, what about this? What about this? What's your go-to couple of fun facts that you tell people that just get you more excited than any others?
Get me excited personally. Yeah. So I'm quite into animals, right? So my facts tend to be about animals.
Yeah.
If I was to just pick one really cool fact that I've learned since CSIRO is just about Australian birds, songbirds and parrots. We're some of the most amazing, intelligent birds on the planet. It's just insane. Yeah, and they all originated in Australia.
Really?
All the songbirds around the world came from us.
Really?
When we were part of Gondwana, we were on the east, and and they all came from us. And you'll find a lot of South American birds. There's a lot of similarities.
Yeah, okay.
Because we were all together once. And then Australia being so harsh and extreme and missing out on the asteroid meant that all our stuff didn't die when most of the animals around the world died.
Yeah.
We have some pretty ancient animals that have had longer to learn, to evolve, not learn. Well, although a lot of the birds learn, which is part of the reason why they're so intelligent, because they live a lot longer than birds anywhere else, because they have to learn how to survive in our crazy environment.
Yeah. What's the measurement or the scale for intelligence in animals? Is it ability to communicate?
They have a bunch of tests.
Yeah.
Yeah. And different tests will kind of determine. But the reality is, like, we know nothing.
Yeah.
Like, bumblebees, they did an experiment a couple of years. Bumblebees! Sorry, I'm just shouting words at you. Bumblebees! They did an experiment the other... It's such a cool little video.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a bumblebee? They're like these giant fluff balls. They're adorable.
Just flying like a completely random pattern, just like hanging out.
They're just real slow and adorable.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, they found if they taught a bumblebee to put a ball in the middle of a target and then it would get sugar. And then they brought a second bumblebee in. The second bumblebee was taught from the first bumblebee how to do it, and in fact improved upon how the skill set to do it.
That's amazing.
There's bumblebees. They live like a few weeks or some shit. Like, that's insane. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think there's a lot more. Like, the chilies, actually. I wrote this fact today. So chilies have a chemical in them that makes them really hot, right? And the reason they have that chemical, or the reason that chemical is propagated
is it
through
chemical
them...
capsaicin?
It is, yes.
Ding ding, one applause, 100%.
The reason they have that is because if they are predated on by mammals, we don't travel as far, and our digestive tract is quite different, and so we usually kill the seeds in the process, and we don't spread the plant. Birds do not have the same pain receptors, do not taste anything hot in that plant. So they gobble it all up and fly heaps far away, and they have a real short digestive tract. And so they...
Don't birds, number one and number two, out of the same hole?
Yeah.
Another fun fact.
Do you know what? What about monotremes?
A what?
Good old monotremes, our Australian beautiful special ones. So platypus, echidnas, they're called monotremes because they have one hole for everything. They produce... monotremes are extra weird. They're just like some amazing thing. But anyway.
What else you got? Keep them coming. I love this stuff. I love this so much.
Oh, no. Yeah, no, monotremes, oh gosh, I could talk about them for a while. Kangaroos is also weird. They're different. Marsupials, so they have... they're one of the few animals that can decide when to become pregnant.
Really?
Yeah. So the female will...
Decide as in decide when to put out, or just decide...
No, decide as in they'll have sperm and they'll have an egg that's been I don't know, whatever its term is, they'll stop its gestation, so it'll just stay in that infant.
And when they're ready,
they're like, okay, become a little jelly bean, and then this tiny little jelly bean crawls up into the pouch. Have you ever they're these tiny little things like this big, and they're like a jelly bean, and then they have 4 teats in the pouch, and they can have different milk coming out of each teat depending on different stages. So they might have a joey that's out of the pouch but come occasionally for a bit of milk.
With his little brother hanging out.
And his little brother will have one type... Jelly bean will get one type of milk that he needs for that stage of life, and the other one will get a different type of milk from a different teat.
That's amazing.
And why? I don't... how? It's incredible. They found a lot of amazing proteins actually in monotremes, so platypus and echidnas, because they are kind of between mammals, and so they don't have... They produce milk, but they don't have nipples. Yep. Just have these patches on their skin. I'm sorry. I've gone on.
Don't apologise. Keep going.
So they have these patches on their skin where they secrete milk, and the kind of the little jelly beans just suck it up, right?
Yeah.
What we actually CSIRO found recently with I think it was, I can't remember, but with the uni, was because that milk's just sitting there on that. It's a lot less hygienic, right, than a nipple. That's the reason why you would have a nipple, because it's not just sitting on a surface. And as a result, the milk has these crazy whack proteins in them, and they're super good at killing bad bugs. And so we've synthesized it and working out how to wait, because super bugs are a big issue.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you think all of the cures for all of the superbugs and diseases we face as humans, do you think they're all out there somewhere?
Yeah, but I'll put it in perspective, right? I was talking to a scientist who's studying spider venom.
Mm-hmm.
Sam, she's so cool. And each venom, she's only studying Australian spiders. There's many, many spiders we've never even discovered yet, right?
Yeah.
And this is the argument for biodiversity and protection of animals. Each venom has like hundreds of peptides? I can't remember the term. But basically every single animal's venom, like spider venom, will have like thousands and thousands of different bits to study. And each part might be a cure for malaria, it might be a cure for, because the spiders are really good at killing insects, not mammals. They're actually a really good one to study because they don't kill mammals traditionally.
Yeah.
And snakes and stuff are a bit more. But so they're really good at killing insects, and obviously the most dangerous animal in the world is an insect. It's a mosquito, so we're trying to
Is it the most dangerous because it kills the most people?
Yeah.
That's so heavy.
Yeah.
And is it the mosquitoes killing people? Is it the pathogens that they carry around?
It's things.
So it's just because they're a carrier, right?
Yeah,
I'd much rather die like a lion attack or something. Way cooler.
It would be cooler. It would be.
What a way to go.
Oh,
just get your face munched off.
Well, I have a brother who lives in Kenya, and before then he was living in Malawi, which is this tiny little country. And they have the fastest snake in the world there. They're faster than people. Yeah. And so I was like, imagine if you get killed. And it's one of the most deadly snakes in the world too. Woo!
That's a great mix.
Have you heard of the running spider in Australia?
No.
Yeah.
I did just because
up north.
I was interested. I googled a picture of a baby platypus.
Oh, and it looks like a jelly bean? A gross jelly bean.
Whatever you're doing, guys, stop what you're doing. Pull over. Google baby platypus. They are the coolest things ever.
Or a puggle, a small echidna. They're called puggles, and they look like that character from that Fantastic Beasts. Oh no, yeah, you gotta.
Puggle echidna.
Yeah, look at them. They look gross.
They are so weird. I know this is not a visual podcast yet.
They develop their spines later on.
But this is amazing.
Because they're in a pouch. They'll spike up.
They look so freaky.
They kind of look, if you want to describe it, I guess there's a character from that Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Harry Potter thing.
That's
they
what
look
they
like
got
that
from.
thing.
Yeah, nice. I forgot what we were talking about.
Animals. I could talk about animals forever.
Here's a question for you. And I know we said we wouldn't talk about it, but we're talking about common folk.
Yeah.
What was it like, I guess, being on the support network side of common folk as it was starting? Because I guess it's something that me being in amongst Virtus and everything that's happening, like I try and think about what it's like for KP to be in that position. So what's it been for you to be in that position with common folk getting up and running, even though it was only meant to be 2 years?
that was a discussion. When we very first started it, it had been something Sam had been talking about since we met, so it was a long time in his mind. And Sarah Dingwall, his friend, who's does some of the studios.
Yeah.
When we got in 1 year we got married. I was working 3 days a week at a charity. He spent a year without pay building Common Folk, physically building it. So we were surviving on my beautiful income, which was great. And then, we built it, started it and bought a house all in like 12 months. It was pretty epic, and got married.
That's amazing.
It was a big year. But, it's not been that stressful. The very first week was a big one for him.
Yeah. And
I got to see a bit of that. But no, I just keep him in check for like checking out of work. And as
Yeah.
it got bigger, that became harder. As smartphones became bigger, that got harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I might nag him, which is probably not the right thing to
why
do.
not?
But yeah, no, he's pretty good actually, to be fair, at switching off.
Yeah.
But that was something I've drilled into him as well.
Are you going to
No, but he's a bit Asperger's, so he's definitely on the spectrum or whatever you want to, like he is.
Yeah.
And so he has always been very good at switching on and off, and it just got, you knew, like, so Ben came on and it was such perfect timing because I knew he was at a point where he was like starting to get down on himself because it was just too much for one person, you know. You can't, I don't know, what did they have, like 80 staff or something, and
yeah, it'd be a pretty hectic job, but I guess it's cool to be able to, like, now for you two to be able to look back now and like surviving on your wage for a year.
Well,
and
this is what it's quite freeing because it wasn't stressful
yeah.
or hard or anything, and so we kind of were just like all right about it. So now, like, we both have earning more money now, and we're both kind of like, oh well, like we don't hold money
you earn more,
to
you
high.
spend more, right?
Well, yeah, there's that, but also no, we kind of don't, and so we're like, what? We have money.
What do we do with it?
I'm not used to this. I'm still stingy. I still
Under the
hate
mattress,
shopping.
mate.
I'm just not. I don't like shopping, so that's probably.
I also hate shopping.
Sam likes hobbies, so he buys expensive hobby shit.
You've got a hobby. You got a snake.
Yeah.
Kind of hobby.
It's a joint hobby.
Joint?
Yeah, that was funny actually, because it was like one day we both were like, oh, we both like snakes, and we're
Let's
both
get one.
adults, and we both have our own house.
We're both adults. We can do it.
We can do it. and I don't have to feel bad for spending, you know, like $200. Whoa. So we bought
Is that all it costs for a
Lumpy.
snake?
Yeah, I think so. Something about that.
What kind of snake's Lumpy?
He's pretty old. He's a Woma python. They're a really cool snake. They're an Australian. There's two species of it. He's one of the subspecies.
Do they bite?
Oh yeah. He hasn't bitten Sam, I don't think. I've been bitten. It doesn't hurt.
What happened when he bit you?
Oh, he curled up around my arm because he's a python. I was cleaning his cage, so fair enough. I was being a bit annoying for him, and so he just bit me, and then I just kept cleaning the cage for about an hour because it doesn't hurt really. It's more just like it's like stepping on a prickle. It might hurt more now. He's bigger now, but and then you have to put them under water.
So is that what you had to do?
I did, except it didn't work, and I was scared that I was going to drown him.
Oh no.
And
So you're getting bitten, you worry about drowning the snake, good.
Well, yeah, anyway, and so I didn't want to hurt him, right? And so because what you're supposed to do is put them underwater and they're supposed to go, shit, I better let go because I'm drowning, right? And then
but
he
Lumpy
didn't. Lumpy's like, I like this. And so he's just biting in, and they've got the backwards kind of teeth, so it's like really hard to disengage, and you can't do it one-handed. It's a two-hand job, so I was in a dressing gown with nothing under it.
Good.
And I had to text a friend around the corner because Sam was working. And the moment he came over, Lumpy just decided to let go. So
lucky. Thank
well
you.
done, Lumpy.
Crisis averted. All right, we got a bunch of questions for you. Now, some of these aren't regular Birds podcast questions.
Oh no.
Some of them are
prepared.
friend questions.
Okay.
Sam questions.
Oh. Sure.
I don't know, where do they go, the easy ones first? Can you lie?
Nah, I seriously, it's actually been in my performance, like, reviews with my bosses. Yeah, because, like, when you're a manager, you have to kind of have a bit of a poker face.
Yeah.
I'm shit at it.
You just can't.
Yeah, it's really tough.
Yeah.
Because I just think something and I'll
say it.
That
transparency is good though, right?
Well,
until you
can
put your foot in it.
Yeah. I'm also, though, I don't like to upset people or hurt people, so I try to not hurt people, but also, I can't lie. It's really bad.
Who are the coolest people your dad's met?
Oh, it depends on who you're into, right?
Just go who do you think are the coolest?
Oh, well, when I was in the 90s, when it happened, when he met Alicia Silverstone, I was like,
I don't know who that is.
Exactly.
Who dat?
Clueless, the movie?
No.
Oh, bless.
No.
1998, Prime. Okay, like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's into...
Okay, well, that's amazing.
What about all the guys from those movies?
Arnold's books, right?
What's the other one? Stallone.
Oh.
Like, he's met all those guys.
That's cool.
He was telling me the other day actually about how Stallone's tips for weight loss and weight gain.
Really?
Yeah, because he had to gain a bunch of weight for a movie.
Yeah.
And Dad asked him if it was hard to get back. And the thing he said was like, oh, I thought it would just be like, just go back to the gym and it'll be all fine.
Yeah.
It was actually really tough. And it wasn't just go to the gym, it was diet, and it was so much more. And
Funny that.
yeah, I
Ticking all
know,
the
right?
boxes.
Yeah.
Who are the coolest
Hey, it
people
was
you've met?
amazing. Oh, I haven't met anyone that exciting.
Who's the coolest person you're going to meet?
Oh, David Attenborough, I hope.
Not that one.
What?
Well, that's cool.
Oh, Dr. Carl. But, yeah, I might actually meet him.
So
but,
cool.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I love Dr. Carl.
Yeah. He's amazing. I talked to him, and it was like he was in the middle of filming a commercial or something, so we couldn't talk very long, and he was just like, so we set up a time to chat when he was free, and then he was like, what was your name again? And I said, Eliza Keck, K-E-C-K, because it was loud. And he goes, Keck, there's a Keck telescope in America. I go, yes, there is. Yeah, And he was like, I said, how do you know that? And he said, it's my job to know things. I was like, oh.
So it's kind of your job to know things now as well, though, right?
Oh, I hope so, yeah.
So do you want to be the female version of Dr. Carl?
Nah.
No?
I want to get other people's stories out. Not mine. I'm boring. I don't have much to say.
Bullshit.
I just have other people's
You're
stuff
really
to
disagreeing.
say.
Yeah.
No, well, yeah, anyway. But no, coming on this podcast is for me learning to be able to be the interviewee. It's difficult.
Has it been really hard not to just like...
I
load up
have
questions?
like 10 questions I want to ask you.
Throw them at me.
No. Well, do you have another hour?
Maybe we'll do part 2. We'll do
Can
part
I-
2
can I
and
interview you?
Oh, shit. Yeah, sure.
Oh, mate, I'll get you crying.
I'm so happy. You're just going to give me the hook, and then you're going to get some empathy out, and then I'm going to cry.
And then I'll change your behaviour and you'll...
I'm uber emotional, so yeah.
Oh, are you? I have 2
think so.
emotions, happy and angry.
Oh,
No
I don't want to
other
say angry.
emotions.
Angry a lot.
Oh, it's really common. But it's a fast burning thing.
And then you're straight back to happy.
Yeah.
Talk to me about leaning in. I have no idea where this is going.
Oh, it's a book by Sheryl Sandberg. She's the chief finance officer, I think, for Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so...
Should I read it?
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah, I've got it. It's a bit like death by information in terms of his 500 studies proving that
can you
there's...
summarise it for me?
Well, it's basically talking about women in the workforce, and so the idea is to lean into your job.
Yep.
There's a certain period in which is pretty much where I'm at right now
Yep.
in women's career where they find that they lean out of their job for multiple reasons,
Yep.
some of which are their own mindset and some of which are the workforce's. Like right now is probably the most dangerous time for me to try and get a job because anyone who interviews me is going to be thinking, oh, she's been married for a while, doesn't have kids, I don't want to hire her. Like, they wouldn't say it, but they'd think
but
it.
that's just the logical for rightly
It's
or
the
wrongly.
assumption.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Kids,
But
on,
anyway.
kids on the way.
No. But anyway, that book's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's... Well, she walked in and became like the... an executive at, I think... Yahoo, when in the 90s, when it was a big deal, she was like 6 months pregnant and said,
Really?
I want this job. And they're like, oh, okay. And that's the whole argument of lean in.
That's balling.
Yeah.
I don't really want to ask this, but I can do it anyway. This is from Sam. Ask her about the time she tied me to a chair.
No, it's not that exciting. It's really not a story to tell.
Good, carry
Bless
on.
him.
Next question. Everyone can just use their imagination.
I'm a lot more innocent than other people is how I'll put that story. I didn't realise connotations.
That's great. That's great. Oh, jeez. You've thrown me. That's good. What gives your life meaning and purpose?
Oh, that's a different question.
Who do you reckon that's from?
You?
Nah.
Oh. Not Sam. Oh, Brooke, of course.
Shout out.
Bless
Shout
her. Bless her. She loves the things, the feelings and
Loves
the
those
emotions.
questions.
Yeah, she's like a female you. Let's talk about our feelings.
Yeah, fair.
How are you going
Feelings are good.
today?
Good, thanks.
I do like asking people how they feel. I just don't
Genuinely
wanna talk
asking
about
someone
mine.
how they feel.
Oh yeah, absolutely. and reading them. My mum's a psychologist and I learnt all the...
So you learnt all that stuff. What's the main cue you see or that you look for when you read someone?
It's
give me one.
It's stuff that most people would be aware of. It's body language generally. So it's hands over your face when you're feeling a bit embarrassed or lying or not making eye contact. So you just got a closed off kind of body language. You go, oh, what is that about? Maybe they are someone who connects with touch, and so you give them a pat on the shoulder and maybe they respond better or worse, and then you know how that goes, and it's just kind of working out how people...
Who people are and how they react and stuff.
Yeah.
I love the love languages stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff.
Do you know what Sam's love language is, according to Sam?
He'd say quality time.
No, he made a new one. Of course he did.
You can't make a new one.
And it's called teasing. He says when he teases me, it's him being loving. For someone who likes words of affirmation, that's bullshit.
Yeah, so that's just... it's complete opposite.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Meaning and purpose. Hit me.
Meaning and purpose. Damn.
2 big words.
I know, right? And you can interpret them how you will. What gives me meaning and purpose? Meaning, probably an answer for both of them. Definitely faith is a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm a Christian, and that's a big part of my life.
Yeah.
And I work with science. You'll be surprised how many scientists are of faith. It's not a very uncommon thing at all.
I've started to understand that a lot more since, I guess, surrounding myself with Sammy and Benny and Tommy. And it's, I don't know, I find it really interesting. How do you describe the balance between the two?
Between science is just an explaining. That's all science is, trying to work things out.
Yeah.
It's just, so I guess you could put it like, so a lot of Christians struggle with the idea of evolution, right? Mm-hmm. And it could just be that evolution is how God made this happen. Like, why does it, it's kind of like, it's the same reasoning behind like why I don't understand and cannot understand, but why Christians were so scared of the world being round, like how that impacted their faith. Now, in hindsight, you're like, I don't even understand the correlation. But I'm sure there's things like that now still, and that's where, it's important to be a bit open and aware. When
you say the term God, what's like, paint us a picture of what you mean.
Oh gosh, it's too esoteric. It's so many things, right? It's a spiritual thing. It's motivation. It's hard work sometimes. Is what God is. That's probably why I love like ecology, animals, that kind of stuff. Yep. Whenever I'm in that situation, that's really evident that this is like, so cool. Like, I don't know, I just find that shit real cool, and it's like someone just organised that for me. Thanks. But not just for me, for everyone, and I don't know. Yeah, it's a driver for a lot of things, I guess. Yeah, meaning and purpose. Probably also from a me purpose, like what my purpose would be, is to, oh gosh, why did I set myself up with that? Well, helping other people is a big thing. Yeah. Yeah. It's
cool how so many people's like drive and purpose can come back to simple things like that.
And yet you'll find so many of those people might have really opposite opinions about how to do it.
Yeah.
Opposite. Even though they have the same thing. It's something I said to myself in primary school when 2 friends were fighting, and they both separately came to me and told me their problem. Primary school, it was probably something like playing Foursquare or something. And they actually both wanted the same thing, but they'd explained it differently. And so I was big. I was like this tall in primary school, so I just grabbed them and threw them together and I said, you want this, and so do you. And then they were like, oh.
There's that ability to communicate coming through, right?
Yeah, but like, from then, I have kind of made this fake statistic that I've always stuck with, is 90% of all problems, arguments, are just miscommunication. It's important to try and...
How do we communicate better?
Take time.
Yeah. Good advice. Slow down.
Yeah.
Figure out what you actually want, because most of the time we're arguing about shit we don't actually know what we want.
Well, there's also the whole thing of most of the time we're arguing about shit we don't understand.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm so nervous. Like, I couldn't be a Dr. Carl. I don't understand half the shit I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I understand to a certain level because I have to. But, it's this whole phenomenon and it's increasing in our culture. So people's bias of what they think they know. And so if you you think that you know the things that you interact with every day, but
Yeah.
can you explain to me how a zipper works?
Teeth. It's like teeth that cross over each other.
Yeah, but this is the thing. So as soon as you get people to try and explain something that they think they know,
that's cool.
they become a lot more open to. They realise their amount of knowledge.
Well,
they
how many
actually
people would have
have
stopped
is,
and actually thought about how a zipper works, right?
No, yeah, but but everyone would think inherently that
That they'd be able to explain it.
Yeah. So it's to do with what we think we know versus what we actually know.
Yeah.
And once you kind of pare that back and make people realise that, and that's how we've been wired, because we have to be a society and we have to trust. You trust that zipper works because you trust the person who invented it.
Yep.
Made it
Just
work
test it
properly.
out and see that it works.
Yeah.
Still going.
But also, zipper's probably a bad example, but you trust the doctor with
Yeah.
the CT scan, and you trust those things, and that's how we're wired.
I think the problems starts at, like, we talk about scope of practice in our business a lot. Because,
Yeah.
like, personal trainer, dietitian, strength coach, physio, all have an overlapping scope of practice.
Absolutely.
But they overlap one end and then they're separate on another end. So, like, a lot of it's understanding as a professional what our scope is, and then as a
like, when do you take someone from this is the physio thing, but I think you're ready now to go to this
and some, like, there's never, like, it's not always black and white lines. Like, for example, we usually, as soon as someone in the gym has pain, go see the physio and diagnose what's going on. But for many different reasons, sometimes it's okay, let's try this, or some people don't want to go see a physio, some people can't afford it, so that you've got to dance in all that grey and figure out how it works. And I think, like, I think we have a responsibility, or every profession has a responsibility to know what their scope is and to be able to just, like, a little handball off when it's outside it. Because when people argue about stuff that's outside their scope and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, which, like, I'm sure I've done it multiple times, but I try not to.
I do it all the time.
Yeah.
It's really hard. That's when you have to have that, take a step back and
and actually check what you actually know.
Check yourself.
know is true.
Yeah.
Check yourself. Good. What are you grateful for?
I'll exercise my grateful muscle.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, too much. Like, I don't know how to answer that because it's too many things. For my birds and snake and dog, for, you know, my family, for my job, the people in my world, for the skills I have to be able to help others, and
Good answer.
I'm
Everything.
alive. I'm in a country where I have healthcare.
We're a pretty fortunate part of the world, hey?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Have you done much travel?
A bit, yeah, quite a bit.
What's been your favourite place you've travelled to?
Oh. I lived in LA as a kid for a while.
That's cool.
Yeah. I had an accent. It was awful.
Really?
Yeah. And that's a fun place to grow up in because everyone's extremely positive. Like, it's a very different culture to Australia.
Yeah.
We're shifting. Tall poppy syndrome isn't a thing there.
Yeah.
It's a really Australian thing.
Yeah.
Or English as well.
Why do you think that is?
Well, we don't want to look like we're American. Stupid Americans. They're so up themselves, and that's how you get on American Idol singing, and you're awful at singing, and you say, "But my friend said I'm good." It's fear, right?
Yeah.
But just have some self-awareness and don't get too cocky.
You're self-aware,
but it's
not
really
too
good.
self-confident.
But it's a good place to grow up in that sense. You know, to let kids thrive and try. And
is there one travel destination that you haven't been that you want to go to?
Ooh.
Like, if you go to one place right now, where would it be?
South America or Antarctica.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
Antarctica would be.
I might go there with
pretty
work.
magical.
So that'll be
Just jump on a
easy.
ship.
Yeah, we have a research vessel called Investigator.
I'll carry your bags. Fine.
I don't know if you want to. It goes through the down from Tasmania, and it's really choppy seas.
I think
southern seas like the.
Is that the kind of thing where everyone gets seasick?
Everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone.
I don't get seasick until you've been there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You spend about 3 days in your room apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it calms down, and then you're in Antarctica.
That'd be pretty magical.
Yeah. Yeah, my friend from work went and said it was pretty epic. Flew some drones around to film the whales. It was pretty cool.
That stuff just gets me excited.
Yeah.
Makes me want to travel more. I shouldn't ask the travel questions because it just makes me want to jump on a plane again.
Where would you go next?
Oh, good question. I don't know. Well, I think my next trip will be Philippines. KP wants to go to Philippines.
I've been there a few times.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, one of my closest friends from primary school is half Filipino.
Awesome.
So I've gone over there a lot.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll tell you a few places to go.
I don't really have now like South America, like Patagonia was number one, Machu Picchu, Iguazu Falls, and I did those. So like, they were the ones in terms of like amazing parts of the world. New Zealand was one, and I ticked that off.
Yeah. Do you feel like you ticked these places off?
Not ticked them off, but just
it's one of my most hated phrases. Yeah. I've done Europe.
Yeah, good.
What the fuck?
Been to.
Getting on it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Been to. I don't know. I don't think I have went to Japan and saw the snow. That was like mind blowing.
Wow.
I want to do Europe. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really have one place. Like right now,
I
don't have one place where I'm like, that's where I want to go.
Yeah.
But I want to spend.
I want to spend some quality time somewhere. Hey. Not go quickly.
I think like a 5-6 week trip's kind of perfect for me.
It is. Such a good amount of time.
Yeah. Because you get long enough to disconnect. Furthest 2.5 years. Yeah.
Well, Sam and I took our first ever like big trip last year.
Yeah, that was Europe, yeah?
6 weeks, I think. Yeah. We went 7 weeks maybe.
Yeah.
That was the first time. We've been open since 2013.
I'm hanging out to be able to grab KP and go away for 6 weeks. It's going to be awesome. I don't know where it'll be though. Maybe Europe. Maybe the US. The US I just want to do work stuff though. Too much like strength conditioning. Like
go to Muscle Beach.
No, different kind of strength conditioning. It's like the mecca of like strength conditioning and all these sports. They're all all the sports over there. For one, there's a little bit of money in it compared to Australia.
Yeah.
But there's so many teams, so many professional teams, and majority of the sports over there are all strength and power based, or majority strength and power based. So you've got NFL and basketball and all those kind of sports that are all like big all got ticket. big colleges with lots of money and lots of facilities, and they don't pay the players, but that's beside the point. That's a different argument.
I had a few friends who went over to America for college for sport, and it was a hard slog.
Oh, it's insane. It's like anyway, a different argument, a different discussion for a different day.
Yeah, American schooling system. Woo.
Yeah. Oh, I don't want to ask you the education question. Yeah, well, if you could go back to school, or if you could have some impact on the curriculum, what are 2 subjects you'd add to it?
Oh. I would add to it. Mental health first aid.
Yeah.
So giving kids that kind of stuff, and certainly something more vocational kind of practices. But I guess that stuff is available. It's just that there's a bit of a cultural disdain of it, I guess.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a societal problem rather than the subject. Yeah.
Good too.
Good.
What advice would you give a 15-year-old version of yourself?
Oh.
Nothing?
Nah.
Just figure it out?
Yeah, I just keep on keeping on. Keep going. 15. Year 9. That was a good year. That's fun. That year I decided I had to learn a new word in a new language every week.
In a different
language every week.
So you learned.
My school was very multicultural, so I was able to smash it out. I got a lot. I can't remember most of it. And I remember some Swedish and Greek and Russian and Mandarin. That's probably it.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
South America like 2 months ago, and I've forgotten all the Spanish.
All the Spanish? Yeah.
I've forgotten it all.
And it's different between North and South, like different parts of the country. And
Yeah, and you say the same word in 2 different countries, and it's like completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just bit my tongue a lot most of the time. What are you most proud of?
Ooh, most proud of? Oh. I'm not very proud. Well, that sounds like myself. I can't think of an answer though.
Pat yourself on the back for something.
Yeah, right? That's tough. probably generally just like I'm proud of like when I can get a story out that needs to get out and perhaps wouldn't have otherwise. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit more generalist, hey?
Yeah.
But lots of little things. I don't think there's one major thing I'm proud of.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, you had about a million things you're grateful for, so I'm sure you're probably...
Yeah, well, this is my problem with life, right? Do you know what?
This is my problem with life. Go. Fill us in.
I looked at an old CV, actually the CV for the job I'm currently in, my cover letter. I was brutally honest. In hindsight, lucky I got the job. I wrote about me, and I said, I'm overly enthusiastic about almost everything. And that was like, about me.
It's all like directed enthusiasm. Like there's not... I don't think there's wasted enthusiasm.
No.
You get people excited about things you're excited about.
Yeah, I hope.
To change behaviour.
Well, hopefully. I usually have a goal. Yeah, I do like having a reason for doing things.
All right, bunch of favourites to finish off with.
Oh, I'm not good at this.
That's all right. First thing that comes in your head. Favourite book.
Ooh. Again, these are all just going to be books, not favourite. But read I Am Legend.
Yeah.
It's a real short story, and it's nothing like the movie. It's quite a good book.
Good.
Just read it.
I have a rule with books. If two people suggest the same book, two people that I respect suggest the same book, I'll buy it.
Yeah, I can't imagine many people have read I Am Legend because they've watched that awful
didn't know
movie.
it was a book.
Yeah. It's the first zombie book, really.
Great movie. Will Smith, get around it.
Completely different book and way better.
All right.
It's like quite full on. I've read it in one sitting.
I might break my rule.
Overnight.
Break my rule and just get it anyway because
I might have it.
Awesome.
I'll see if I have it.
If you do, I'll read it. Good from you.
I like zombie books though.
Is it going to happen at some point?
Look,
how does the human
hopefully
race...
not next week when I'm in the laboratory. With all the viruses.
Don't be the first. Don't be patient zero.
Patient zero, yeah.
Favourite movie?
Oh, Shine? Yeah, well done. 90s kid. It's a movie about David Heathcote, which is a Australian classical pianist, but it was Geoffrey Rush. He won an Academy Award for it in 98.
I'm failing miserably with 90s movies today.
Oh, this is like the only one I've watched. That
0 from 2. Favourite way to spend a Sunday afternoon?
Oh, walking the dog and having a cup of tea.
Shout out to Pavlov.
Shout out to Pavlov all the time. Oh, and maybe teaching my birds a new trick.
What's their best trick?
Oh, none at the moment.
No.
Oh, I'm trying to make them breed. I'm putting all my effort into that. Anyway, Sam accidentally bought me a boy and a girl. He thought he bought two boys. I came home and I was like, that's a girl.
So much for studying zoology, right? Favourite quote?
I wrote one down.
Oh, did you? I
have a really bad memory. Or I have too many things going on.
Yeah, I'd go with option 2. I don't think you have a bad memory.
I emailed it to myself. It was Henry Ford from memory.
If I asked people what they wanted, they would have just said faster horses.
What? No.
No, not that.
No.
My favourite Henry Ford quote is, if I'd asked people what they want, they would have just said faster horses.
Ah, good. Yeah, he was a pretty phenomenal person, really. Revolutionary.
Very racist.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But comes with the time.
Whether believe you can do a thing or not, you are right.
Good.
Yeah.
Elite quote.
Yeah.
Last question. Favourite way to consume new information?
Audiovisual. I'm quite visually
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Give me a good photo. But I push that on other people. It's human.
How can people follow CSIRO and you and all the cool stuff you do?
Oh, I don't ever do much with my own stuff. But,
you should.
Nah, I'm bored. CSIRO, just search CSIRO on Facebook. Go to CSIROgram on Instagram. Or at CSIRO News for Twitter. The reason you'd follow us on Twitter is basically for every day we make a hashtag 4 o'clock fact. And at 4 p.m. every day we'll send you a fact.
Might have to get back on Twitter.
Just for that. I wouldn't go on Twitter for anything else. It's a pretty nasty place. But go for that. Yeah.
Good.
4 o'clock facts. Yeah.
Really good. Hey, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, by the way, tell me about the comp. You guys are running.
Oh, the Genie face.
Yeah.
Will this air before then? It ends on the 15th of July.
Maybe I better expedite this episode.
Okay.
We'll see. If not, it doesn't matter.
Well, we discovered a gene, or a guy, my work, Cam, and a few other people with him, that it regulates a lot of our immune system and how it responds to things. So it may have some pretty major implications for cancer, arthritis, the flu, all sorts of things that are in that bag. And it's 500 million years old, but also our scientist, Cam, he has the rights to name it, and he decided he wants to give those rights to the public. So you can name a gene. It has to start with C, and it has to kind of relate to the gene's function. They're the two rules. And it closes on the 15th.
Nice. Get around it.
Yeah.
I
saw Colin on Facebook. Well
Did
done.
you?
Yes. I didn't even like it. I'm sorry.
Why do you hate me? I thought it should be Colin. Because
it was
it's
so uninspired.
It's an old gene. It's probably a guy that would wear jeans and runners, and it started with C.
You're insulting so many Collins around the world right now.
Sorry, Colin. No, see ya.
Do you know any?